Heard of Q broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Heard of Q broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Stars. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
We live in a world where men are told it's harmless. It's just entertainment. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Pornography destroys. It weakens your spirit. It dulls your drive. And it robs you of what real intimacy is supposed to be. Every click is a step away from the man you're supposed to be. We can't call ourselves leaders if we are slaves to a screen.
As someone that is prior service, I know all about discipline. And discipline isn't out there, it's within your mind. Porn rewires your brain, weakens your will, wrecks all of your relationships. It doesn't just stay on a screen, it invades your marriage, your confidence, and your actual purpose. As men, if we don't learn to discipline ourselves, we'll be ruled by our impulses. Now, it is time to stand up and take control before this silent war takes more than you're willing to lose.
Real men don't hide in the shadows of shame. We step up and we protect what's ours. We fight for our wives and kids, our own hearts. Twitter isn't just an app, it's a weapon. It's a tool used to break free and start living like the man that you're meant to be. The battle's here and it starts with you. You can stop living in shame and you can break free today.
Here at the Anomic Age, we know that these times of uncertainty are stressful. It is incumbent upon all of us to put our fears first and bow down to government tyranny. Gone are the days of freely leaving your home, working, and social interactions. In exchange for safety, we will trade liberty. At the Anomic Age, we understand. However, just in case you want to get off your knees and stop being a sniveling coward, check out the John Age Project at anomicage.com.
Meet Ann Morrissey, who is here with her daughter, Dareth. Dareth is 17 years old. Mrs. Morrissey, I don't have to tell you that most parents would be extremely depressed if their daughter came home one day looking like this. I assume that was your response. Shock, anger, depression? What was it?
I was extremely angry. I really went bananas.
Yeah, how old was she when this happened?
Possibly 13, 14 years old.
We're talking like it's a disease, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah. How did she explain it to you, Mrs. Morrissey?
there was very poor communication until we went into counseling. And it almost broke up our family. But through counseling and Serena, I can understand it better.
What do you understand?
That she feels like she doesn't want to be like everyone else, and she wants to be her own person. And through the dress code and her lifestyle, she's expressing this. It doesn't conform with our rules, but we're learning to cope, and it's a very, very difficult thing. Extremely difficult.
Dareth, let's let you talk for yourself. You're from Long Beach, California.
I just can't handle being like everybody else because that's what everybody else wants, you know. Just because somebody else does something does not mean that I have to do it. You know, I have my own morals and ideals, and I go by them.
Are you drug-free, Dara?
Yes, I am.
Is this a political statement then? Do you have some misgiving about the society that you see?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems, you know. A lot of the people are really aware of what's going on, you know, and I don't like it, you know. There's a lot of problems. I don't like the way society is based.
What bothers you? Give us some of the misgivings you have.
The rich, the poor, the people starving, the wars, you know. Why can't, you know, everybody just get along and just live their life?
Salon Real and Chevy.
Propagating truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the John H. Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the anomic age, and I am your host, John H. Happy to be back with you once again here in the main seat, coming to you proudly from the coastal plains of the Old North State. I'll be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet, a forced march into obsolescence thrust upon us by a global satanic death cult of pedophiles. Check out anomicage.com if you've not already done so. Like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions. PayPal.me /anomicage. Patreon.com /anomicage as well. That's the best way you can do everything you can to help me. The Cash App link to buy me a cup of coffee link, it's all right there at anomicage.com. So consider becoming a patron, making a donation. 5-star reviews, kind comments, lovely words, salutations, greetings, or even disparaging barbs. Well, if you do that, I'll just delete them. Anyway, all that and so much more at anomicage.com, so do that. All right, not going to belabor too much today. Got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to cut things short, brief, and even slim this afternoon. As I usually say, and I'll be coming to you this evening with this program on the Patriots Pro Network, so I will be taking you into the dark side of the AM. So fear not. But if you're watching right about now, it's in the lighter side of the PM. Sorry to be there in the PM for you, but I know somebody out there is watching this on the PM, so congratulations to the PM people. I'm not really a PM kind of guy, but that's neither here nor there. So much to get into, so let's delve right into the deep end of the pool, shall we? We're going to talk about in today's episode. Today's episode is going to be a little bit of overwhelmed and under-delivered. That's going to be the thesis, the takeaway from tonight's episode. So, I don't know about you, and I guess it's all algorithmically based, so it don't really make a hill of beans. What kind of feed I got, I'm sure is differentiated by the feed that you got. It's based on your demographic, how much time you spending scrolling, how much time you spending on one image, how much time you're spending on another image. You know, it's all algorithmically based these days. So it's downright hilarious, really. So that really does explain why you could have a great show like the Anomic Age, and you're just not going to get the push in the mainstream in the mainstream alternative media sphere, a la YouTube, Facebook, and so forth and so on, especially if you've hacked off people and been kicked off before. Forget about it. But, that's just how the cookie crumbles, I suppose. Or the loony ticks. But we got to get into this one this evening because my feed's been, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's been covered in despair lately. And I don't even think that's a bad thing. I think we should all be in a state of despair. I'm not one of those cats that's like the old school late 80s, 90s hardcore kids, the posi-core kids. I was never a posi-core kind of guy. And I'm sure that's to my own detriment. There's somebody out there saying right now as they're tapping their finger on the hardcore handbook from Agnostic Front Days. Somebody's tapping their finger on the hardcore handbook and saying, John, you don't have that PMA. You don't have that attitude vis-a-vis the bad brains. I guess I don't. Because I'm too much of a realist, folks. I really am. And you can always be on the bright side of things. You can always be realistic without being pessimistic, I guess. I don't necessarily think I am doomed. I think our world is doomed. But I don't think my person, my people necessarily are doomed. And by people, I mean familia. Los Blancos, they're doomed. Yeah, they are. I'm guaranteed that. But that's neither here nor there. But I would definitely look out there on not just the social media landscape, because I think art imitates life, life imitates art. And the same thing can be said right about now, where the social media sphere, it's just a reflection in that sort of black mirror, in the reflecting pool that Trump's spending billions of dollars on. I love this, and I'm not going to sidebar too much, but I love these idiots on the right and the left. Oh my goodness, the left's Trump's billions of dollars on the reflecting pool. And then the morons on the right, well, look how much Barack Obama spent on the reflecting pool. Well, look how much Joe Biden's spent. And my thing on the whole flipping thing is, folks, why are we spending anything on the flipping reflecting pool? Does nobody connect the dots between these asinine phallic symbols, and you connect it back to the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire and the Vatican? You're not picking up on these stupid phallic symbols that are all over the place. We have one in DC, District of Criminals again. And the same thing with the stupid reflecting pool. Look into the occult imagery, iconography, and otherwise facts about these things. And if nothing else, if you believe none of that, just think to yourself, why is our government spending billions of dollars on some stupid pond in DC? That's stupid, folks. That's stupid. Meanwhile, infrastructure is crumbling, drug addict trash everywhere. Everybody's a big fat piece of trash or a drug-addled piece of trash or somewhere in between. Maybe they're both. That's the culture of America. That's why I did the whole show on anti-American culture, because it stinks. Okay. But not to divert too much. Definitely overwhelmed and under-delivered. That's what's up. So you're seeing that in the social media landscape, but you are absolutely seeing that in the public landscape. Just go out and about, folks. Just drive around wherever you happen to be. And let me know if you don't see the same thing as me. It's disgusting, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's disgusting. And I know somebody's going to say, John, you're being the old guy on the front porch. John, you're being the get off my lawn guy. John, you're going through a midlife crisis. No. I went through a quarter life crisis and a midlife crisis, and I'll probably go through a later life crisis too, because it's all a crisis, folks. It's all a crisis. If you're awake at all to the bull jive, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous. Recalculous. Revolting, repulsive, it's disturbing, or at least it should be. But see, if you call all this BS out for what it is, then you're being negative. Your chakras and your aura, and you're speaking the bad into existence, and you're just not having the PMA, man. Maybe you should go listen to Youth of Today a little bit more, John. And there's always several different layers to it. There's two sides of every coin. And then there's the in-between. So, yes, you could say I'm being a little bit full of despair, disparaging, or even just downright negativo about this. But for me, you've got to actually live in reality. And you've got to actually accept what's going on. See, the Posicore idiots to me, these are the people that would be on the Titanic going, it's all going to work out fine. We're going to be fine. Nothing to worry about here. God's going to take care of us. The miraculous universe is going to take care of us. Gaia is going to take care of us. The Jack in the little lifeboat's going to take care of us. I, on the other hand, would look at that situation and say, hey, we're pretty bleeped here, folks. The ship's belly up and broke in half and going down, okay? Nobody's going to save us. We have to save our flipping selves. You've got to swim your little butt over to the lifeboat and get in it. You've got to make a drastic change. You can't just play and dance as the ship goes down. No, you can't be that jackwagon that says, and the band played on, and the captain went down with the ship. What a bunch of stupid garbage. So you've got to actually come to grips with how fouled up it is before you can actually do anything about it. Inversely, conversely, positive, negative, or otherwise. Well, people don't want to admit the handbasket that way. It's silly. But to the point, overwhelmed and under-delivered. I would submit to you that most people at this juncture are overwhelmed. And I'm sure there's 1,000,001 Posicore people. There's the life hack people. It's all waves and chakras and auras and vibes, man. There's that whole crowd. Okay, so get on whatever side you want to get on, or just get in the middle. It doesn't matter. But the funny thing is, like, everybody is overwhelmed, but there's still the people out there saying, I'm on $1 million yacht 7 days a week. I'm just whacking around and doing like 5 minutes of work a day. It's all disposable income. You just got to do what I'm doing. You've just got to say this mantra every day when you wake up and shove a, it's kind of, I'm at the same point with the everything's bad for you. We're all doomed. Everything's bad for you. I got that, folks. I understand. That's why you'll never hear me giving advice or telling people, that's got cancer in it. I used to be that guy, but now I just don't care because I don't want to hear it just like they don't want to hear it. I guess, on the other hand, at least know what's up. Like, I'm not going to eat Chick-fil-A fries because they're satanic and cancerous. I know that. But on the offhand that I eat something from the store or from the house or even from a restaurant out and about, anytime I do, I'm pretty much taking into consideration there's seed oils in there. There's some GMO somewhere in there, unless I made it myself. I make biscuits about once a week at the house, and I know what's in there. It's all organic ingredients. It's like 5 ingredients. That's the only time that I can safely say, I know what this is. And there's the other crowd. Well, you just need to have a forest and a garden and a well and what exactly? And a bunch of slaves to work my property because I can't do all that BS. I'm not having like 10 kids to work the flipping homestead. That's not happening. So to every dilemma, the Posicore crowd's always got the answer. Just say your mantra and it'll be all right. But I think overwhelmed would be the understatement of the millennium, of the decade, and surely of the year. Because gas here in the formerly great state of North Carolina is well over $4 a gallon. I can imagine what it might be in Hawaii or California. Don't worry, California. NC is the East Coast, California. Easily. But overwhelmed, to say the least. Like, everybody's working 2 jobs. Everybody's trying to find a 3rd job. Everybody is sitting out there at this bleeped up economy and just going, how can we get enough money to pay for food? Forget about a vacation. Get out of here with that job mess, man. If you're taking a vacation, God bless you. However, overwhelmed would be the obvious choice, And I know this is not unique to this time and this generation, because that's the other hilarious thing, you get this grift. I don't think it's even a grift. I think it's kind of just delusional thinking. But you get this delusional sort of thinking quite obviously and often from like the Christian right. It's going to be in the end times. We're in end times. We've been in end times for the last at least 30 years of my flipping life. Because I started listening to Art Bell like early 90s. And we're at 2026. And it predated that. But I mean, that's kind of when I first started hearing this bull jive. And you heard the same thing with every great, conservative pundit for the last 30 to 100 years. This is the end times. We're all in end times. It's end times. It's all end times. Pull out your end times prophecy decoder ring and shove it on your ear, So I don't really buy that either, Everything's been end times. Hitler was end times. World War I was end times. If you were in any of the litany of cults in the early 1900s to late 1800s, it was end times, baby. Hale-Bopp Comet people thought it was freaking end times. They were cutting off their ding-a-lings and wearing stupid Nike jumpsuits, man. Stupid. And if you read your Bible, even at a cursory level, the Bible says you're not going to know when the next big calamity, cataclysmic event is, folks. So you're not going to know. So why pee-pee in the wind trying to figure it to flip out? That's dumb. That's the art of navel gazing. So I'm not really stressing that, end of the Mayan calendar. It's 2012. It's the year 2000. My grandfather on his deathbed at the precipice of the new millennium. And he was asking my mom if the world was over yet. Is it ended yet? Are we done? As he died on the first day of the year 2000. So we weren't done. We weren't done in 2012. We're not going to be done in 26. We're not going to be done in 2076, folks. I just don't believe it. It's the old Bad Religion song, "The world won't stop without you." It won't. It'll get cruddier, but it won't stop. But you didn't really come here for that monologue this evening. You wanted to come talk about exactly what we're going to talk about. Overwhelmed and underdeveloped, for heaven's sakes. So let's jump into it. Overwhelmed, do you feel? And now overwhelmed. Well, you should be. Air, food, and water's all poison. Everybody's on drugs. You know what else is ridiculous? And I'm sure some people are going to give me grief on this one because it's not very manly to call this out. But whores, folks. Whores. And the oldest profession is still, I guess, the best profession in 2026. Because I'm definitely a heterosexual man. But I got to say, I don't know when our world has been proliferated with this many whores. Maybe they're just more visible than abundant. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that everybody can start an OnlyFans account and just start peddling their wares after a few clicks and allegedly make some money off the deal. I don't know. But it don't matter whether these females are selling freaking jock itch cream, dysfunction supplements, or a flipping car, man. There are more whores in the visible landscape right now than ever before. I guarantee. Guarantee. And again, this isn't even algorithmic. This is just like, look on any social media platform. Look on any internet site. Just start looking for cars. Because that's what I was doing about 30 minutes ago, gathering up the images for this show. And it was just like, this is hilarious, man. I mean, it's cool. Yeah. There's always some chick out there with some naughty bits out there. Okay. I don't know if I'm complaining or just making an observation, but it's just downright kind of silly now. It's okay. Here I am looking for towels. Here's a bunch of whores with towels. You know what I'm saying? It's freaking hilarious. You could be looking for cat litter. I wonder where we could get gravel for the new driveway. And I guarantee you're going to find some girl with a low cut selling some driveway gravel. It's just silly. But I say all that to say this. We are overwhelmed to the 10th power. And we are absolutely under-delivered. Gen X, that's me. And I hate to just keep saying what everybody else is saying, because that's what's so frustrating with the social media landscape. Now, I don't want to even be a part of it. I'll listen to him and check out a little bit of Owen Schroyer from time to time, and he's finally catching up with me, I guess, because he's just said, screw it. Maybe I should do a show every day on airports and just how cruddy they are. You might as well, man. Because the social media landscape, the political landscape, the geopolitics is all garbage. And nobody gives a flip, man. That's what was so funny. And not funny, haha, but funny queer. That was what was so disturbing / idly amusing at this latest attempt, allegedly, quote unquote, big old air quotes, attempt on Trump's life at this gala event or what have you. What was disturbing and simultaneously humorous about the whole thing is that nobody seemed to give a bleep. I do believe that you had the usual media suspects peddling the narrative, the mainstream variety and the alt variety, peddling the narrative. Oh, look, gasp, guffaw, point, look, raise the brow. Somebody's trying to kill DJT again. Oh, my gracious. And then you had the usual pundits on the left. Ha, ha, ha. Somebody's killing Trump. And the usual pundits on the right. How could you dare even say and applaud and laugh and besmirch and all this horse, you know. But I would submit to you that the vast majority of Publico was just kind of like, all right. We've become so desensitized because our lives are so fouled up. We are so overwhelmed, it just doesn't matter anymore. Same thing with the gas prices. People are like, oh, the gas is going up to 10, whatever dollars a gallon. And everybody's like, okay, then. Like, nobody can afford it now. Nobody can afford food now. Nobody can afford a new car, a new vacation, a new house. Hell, the old house to just get repaired. Nobody can afford this bull jive. Meanwhile, in fantasy land, El Presidente is talking about how great the economy is, how we've won the war. Simultaneously, the Strait of Hormuz just claimed another victim. Another boat that our U.S. Navy was protecting has got a big old hole in it. Of which I raised the question all over my accounts the last few days. Okay, doesn't that make you feel warm and fuzzy inside? Does it? Our Navy's protecting this oil tanker, and it's got a big hole in it. So we can't even protect a fucking boat across the sea with allegedly the best military in the world, the best technology in the world, the best ships in the world. How does that make you feel on the home front? You feeling good on the home front? You shouldn't. Should feel downright disgusted on the home front. So, everyone has become so overwhelmed, it just doesn't even matter anymore. Whatever the newest thing is, Same thing with this hantavirus fiasco. And I told you guys a couple of days ago, I believe, on this one. I mean, they were discussing this in the early 2000s. Absolutely. I know about it because I was in graduate school and they were talking about it. We had a whole class talking about the flipping hantavirus. Ooh, yeah, the hantavirus. Early 2000s, Native Americans, not Native Americans, excuse me. In the American Southwest, it did affect the Native Americans, but I'm just talking American Southwest. This became a quote-unquote problem. In the early 2000s, they figured out it was the wee-wee from los ratones. Okay. So they just put that under wraps for 26 years, and here we are again. We dug up the ghosts of Christmas past to scare the freaking slaves again. And you get the same bull jive, man. You get the people on the right freaking out about it. You got the people on the left freaking out about it. And then you got everybody else that's kind of like, forget about it. The morons on the right are triple, quadruple vaccine, wearing 2 masks, got the Dawn dish gloves or whatever, the yellow gloves out there and about. And everybody else is like, who gives a rap? The people on the right, there's nothing at all, and blah, 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 blah. And then there's the people that just don't care. Overwhelmed, underdelivered. Just don't flipping care. So we got some images for you. Can we put them on the screen for you? And I covered this in another show many shows ago. But we'll cover it again. Why not? Just want to draw a little juxtaposition for you. The world I grew up in versus this hellscape that we're in now. And it's just like the deviant art of the 1960s. 1960s, the CIA was funding deviant art. That's when you had this asinine mess by there was 2 of them. One of them was Jack Dripper. He went by the name Jack Dripper. He just dripped a bunch of colored crud all over a big canvas and called it a day. And you had this other nonsensical, moronic garbage where there was a crucifix in a glass of urine and all this boulder dash. And the CIA came out, maybe like 20 years ago. I was like, oh yeah, we were funding the modern art jag. We were funding the most retarded, debased, bottom feeder, just floor flushing trash just to influence the American culture and get them to accept stupidity, get them to accept deviance, get them to accept exploitation, get them to expect garbage art. And that's what they got. So it was a way of debasing the culture, demoralizing the culture. It was, in essence, a humiliation ritual. It was a humiliation ritual on the culture and saying, yo, this is what you are. This is the culture. Just as art imitates life and life imitates art. That was the reflecting pool that began in the 1960s. And it's only gotten worse, folks. So everything I'm telling you with these 2 juxtapositions that we're going to roll through here in a minute, just say it's only gotten worse. So what I'm showing you is just like the tip of the flipping iceberg here. The cars and the colors of cars. I mean, there's been many a meme on this one. Again, covered it months ago, just on the colors of the cars. 1980s cars on the top and the 2025s. You could roll it into 26. It hadn't gotten any better, but it just shows you the desaturation of the color spectrum on the basis of cars. We used to have lovely, colorful cars, and now we just have these monstrosities that look like turds. And I'm sure there's somebody out there that loves this garbage, but I don't know why. And we could say the same thing if we're talking about not just the cars, not just the car's color, as my grandmother would say, but the car style. Let's put this on screen, can we? Here's a little breakdown of older cars versus newer cars. And this should make everybody rich. Because it's not just the fact that we've desaturated the color, we've destroyed the entire style and aesthetic of once great cars. I mean, in 20 years, no one's going to be restoring and rolling in a 2002 Toyota Tercel because the cars are garbage. Have anybody figured that out? Like, people will restore kind of like up to the 80s cars, maybe. Usually stops in the 70s. Because everything past that is turds. The 80s were the last great decade because that was the last great decade that had metal cars. Cars that had color. Cars of color is what they're really called, John, you racist. But they had cars of color. They had cars that were actually metal. The shape and style by the 80s had kind of started to flag, but they were still metal. The actual thickness of the metal was thicker. That's why you see all those old 70s and 80s era car magazines, and even to a lesser extent car ads. But for the most part, it was the car magazines. It was like the hot rod magazines. They would have the hot chick on the car and so forth and so on. You can't do that in 2026. The car sucks. The car is plastic. The metal is so thin. Anybody that gets on the car is going to dent the flipping car. You could put a newborn baby on the car, and the metal is so thin it's going to cave in. It stinks, folks. It's garbage. But wait, there's more, because there's obvious. We also went from this, to quote the great movie by Booth there, Mallrats, a monument of consumerism, says the great skateboarder Jason Lee in the movie. Great movie, by the way. I recommend it highly. Kevin Smith. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Booth. Kevin Smith. Anyway. Mallrats, talking about the monuments of consumerism was the mall. But the malls were wonderful. I know somebody's going to say Reaganomics and the capitalism and the system, man. Okay, whatever. It was a large indoor enclosed facility with air, food, and water, which you could buy anything and everything your little heart desired from about 10 in the morning to about 10 at night. Sounds pretty good to me. You could go there as an oldster. You could go there as a youngster. You could go there as an in-betweener, and you'd still have a good time. You'd have a gay all time, to quote the Flintstones, but not anymore. Nay, because this was the once great malls. Really came about in the 60s, and then, came to their preeminence in the 80s. But not now. Oh, no, because now we are suffused with this garbage. The strip mall. The strip mall. Every town's got one. I guarantee there's probably one 10 minutes from your house. A sucky strip mall. So the actual malls have been erased virtually, and they've been replaced with the strip mall. But don't worry, because there's a whole newfangled crop of these crappy malls that are kind of just predicated on duplicating the old downtown era. I got two of these near my house right now, but it's an outdoor mall. There's no indoor about it. It's basically just a bunch of strip malls put together, and they configured them in sort of like the Main Street configuration, and they have really high-priced, crappy apartments above the mall, and then they have this consumer mess below. So they've tried to replicate Main Street, is really all it boils down to. But it's an extension of Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, where they want everybody in these 800 square foot bleep holes, where they have an HOA and they tell them where to park and what to do and what you can have in your house and not have in your house and what you can grow and what you can't grow and how late you have to stay out and when you got to come home. Don't worry, the whole thing's blanketed with 5G. So there's internet everywhere. You can go out on the park bench and have internet. You can go in your flipping house and have internet. And you can walk right downstairs and go to the gin mill and be a big drunk fat piece of trash. And I'm sure you can walk over to the vape shop and be a druggy piece of trash. It'll be great. That's it. And you won't even really have a car anymore because everything's in walking distance. Everything's got public transit. It's right there next to you. It's a smart city. So that's really the new deal. So we've gone from the actual mall to this strip mall garbage. And then in the larger areas now, you've got the mock downtown. The one near me used to be a big cow pasture. The whole thing. It's hilarious. So that's where we are today. I mean, I could just run down the checklist here. Malls, cars, music. Anyone? You want to talk about music? Underdelivered music? And I know the whole music scene, the music industry, it was all Tavistock. It was all CIA. It was all a contrived deal. We got that. From Elvis to Led Zeppelin to the Beatles to the Jacksons. However, in most of those people, whether they were studio musicians doing everything like the Beatles, or whether it was actual musicians doing it, you couldn't actually look at the product and say, okay, well, that person has at least talent in X, Y, or Z. You can listen to Jimmy Page play the guitar and say, okay, that person can play the guitar. You can listen to Michael Jackson and say, okay, there's no autotune, There's no backup singers. There's no backup band. It's just this guy and a microphone. And that guy can sing. Now, it's a monstrosity. It's a flipping nightmare, folks. The music is nothing more than agenda background noise for the decaying civilization of turds. That's really all it's about. We've already covered the R, excuse me. We got to talk about food because, juxtapose the two worlds. And I often talk about this with my daughter. I'm like, yo, man, like when I was a kid, you could go eat like McDonald's French fries. And McDonald's French fries from 1988 had like 3-4 ingredients, like salt, oil, potatoes. Now the same McDonald's French fries has got like 20. So like, that's why we don't eat McDonald's French fries anymore, folks. Because it's all garbage. It's all meant to kill you. Underdelivered. Gas stations. I could do a whole nother show on gas stations. I'm a sucker for the old gas stations. You see a lot of these in North Carolina, just sort of vestiges of yesteryear. The old service station where you had like 2-3 pumps in the front. You had the main station, and then you usually had a garage to the right or the left of it. You'd run over the little thing and ding a bell. Somebody'd come out and put gas in your car. If you were running low on air, water, etc., somebody'd help you and put that in for you. If you had a noise, if you had a broken belt, what have you, you'd roll it over to the garage and somebody would fix it for you. That's gone. It's gone and been replaced with like the gas station strip mall. No longer are you just, let's stop and get some fuel and maybe use the restroom, get some water. No, now you got Buc-ee's. What's that other crud? Sheets or something? You got all these ridiculous gas stations that are kind of more akin to a strip mall with a gas pump. That's really it. Overwhelmed, under-delivered. Phones, I mean, we got the image here on this one, just a juxtaposition of the phones. And a lot of people are going, oh, I love my phone. I get to do everything on my phone. I guess you do, sure. Your phone's become your entire existence. It used to just be a device to talk into and listen to another person, and that's it. Height of technology was caller ID. Oh, boy, now you can see who's calling you and not answer the phone. Now people can't go 20 minutes without touching it. You got to touch it. You got to touch it and see what's going on. You use it to get a ride, use it to get food, use it to get directions, use it to talk to somebody, use it to message somebody, use it to take pictures and send them to somebody, take videos and do all that too. It's just exhausting, folks. I thought about, and I might still do this, just going in a different direction, making shorter shows again, making these little stupid short Instagram clips. But it's really just nauseating to me. That whole genre just kind of makes me sick. It's entertaining, I guess, but I mean, so is a car crash, depending on what side you're on. Television, anyone? We went to this huge box, like this 50-pound box, down to this smaller, more compact, lightweight box. Did the same thing, except now the TV can also spy on you. You can get the internet on it. It can listen to you, 5,000 channels of nothing, 5,000 channels of propaganda and programming, pushing lovely agendas on you. Same thing with photographs. Went from having a photograph album, I don't know about you, but my parents and grandparents had those growing up, to now everything's just on some stupid box. Some little box you carry around in your pocket. And you have to pay for more space because you went from devices that actually had enough space for everything to now you have to pay more money for a device that has no space for nothing, so you can pay additional funds so that they can house your images online, aka steal your images. And if you don't pay them money every month, they'll disappear your flipping images and then sell your stolen images. It's just hilarious. This is the world we live in, folks. Like that old give me convenience or give me death by the dead Kennedys. That's exactly the world we're living in now. And I was thinking of the other band, the Four Skins, from the Good, the Bad, and the Four Skins record, I believe. Well, the song's called 1984. Whatever happened to this land of hope and not a lot of glory? But remember, the future is going to be a completely different story. That's where we're at now, folks. We're living in the future, and the future stinks. That's why you have people clinging to these vestiges of the past. That's why you have these people with nostalgia bait channels. There's tons of nostalgia bait. There's Gen X channels, and there's boomer channels. There's all nostalgia bait crap, folks. And that's probably what this would be filed under as well. But I'm just kind of pointing out the obvious. That's where we're at, folks. Everything in the current realm of society and civilization is turds. You know, outside of the obvious social media mess, you got people getting shot and killed 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. Rapes, murders, disembowelments, ritual killings, and the whole 9 yards. And everybody's kind of just at a big who cares. Okay, next. People have become desensitized, to quote another great song by Slapshot. And they're just like, screw it. They're overwhelmed. Everything that was promised, it's going to be so much better when you're older. It's going to be, nobody thinks that anymore. I don't even think the younger children think that either. Nobody's going like, man, I can't wait to be 20. Why? I remember being a whole lot younger and thinking that, I can't wait to be 20, 25, and so forth and so on. Everything's going to be great. It's going to be so much better than 1990, whatever. Boy, was that a big, big lie. And you could go down this rabbit hole even further and talk about the failures of our society to even prepare us for this brave new world. Because everyone is still getting taught the same old diatribe of lies, the same false history and false paradigms in the cult of academia, K through 12 indoctrination, college, university, weaponization. But everyone's basically going to get out of school and be living in a brave new world. A brave new world / 1984 love child with a little dash of Fahrenheit 451 on the side. It's going to be a dystopian present, folks. It's not a future. The dystopian present is here. We're living in the dystopian present. It's just not as bad as it's going to get. So, I mean, it's going to be horrible. It's only going to get worse. Self-driving cars that won't start based on your social credit score, mark of the beast to buy and sell, everything from the Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 is, that's what's coming to pass. But on the one hand, you have people that are just overwhelmed and they've fallen into that learned helplessness from the psychology experiments from 50 plus years ago. The learned helplessness where they just kind of gave up. They're like, okay, screw it. It's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. Just bring it. And I think that plays into the hopelessness and why a lot of people got the vaccine. People don't want to talk about the ugly elephant in the room, but a lot of people got the vaccine because they just gave up. They said, screw it. Maybe I take this vaccine and I freaking die. It'll be, not a direct infanticide or, a direct suicide, but an indirect suicide. I didn't knowingly, put the 12 gauge to my brainstem and pull the trigger. I just took the vaccines. I did all the stuff they told me in hopes that I could get out of this moral coil. I think there's a lot of why people did what they did during the COVID hoax. And don't worry, because everybody's going to fall for the same line during the hantavirus hoax. Of course that's how it's going to be, folks. Of course that's how it's going to be. All right, I promised I was going to do this, and I am actually going to do this. I'm going to keep things short, brief, concise, and to the point today. Because I got to roll and be on my way. As I always say, you can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference, and I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the Anomic Age. Try not to feel overwhelmed and underdelivered. I know it's going to be impossible, but try. I'll be seeing you next time, folks, in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.